three types of questions that are asked in CSAT reading comprehension? Second thing, if that's the case, then what is the solution? What is the strategy? What is this much touted about 5-step secret that I keep telling you? Let's do that. Okay. Now, CSAT reading comprehension questions are generally that you shall be updated. Okay. How many classes will be there for this and when is the next lecture? I'm very sorry, dear friends. Right now, I really don't know when is the next lecture, but very soon. I think you will be updated. You will be shortly sent a message regarding that. Okay. Yeah. And today's lecture is till 8 o'clock. Now, I know it's a long time and it's a weekend. So World Cup is going on and a lot of people will feel, oh my God, look at my destiny. I'm studying CSAT here, but that's okay. This is actually enjoyable. And, it's not boring at all. So don't worry. It will be good. So now be patient and stay through the lecture. Now, three kind of comprehension questions which are asked in CSAT examination are passage-based questions, which I call as PBQ. Next is question based on central theme or the main idea of the passage. This I call as theme-based question or TBQ. And the last question will be inference-based, which I call as inference-based question, IBQ. So there are total three kinds of questions that shall be given in CSAT: PBQ, TBQ, IBQ. Now, what are these? Now, you take it this way, that the most difficult and the most challenging and the most torturous kind of questions that CSAT gives you are inference-based questions, okay? But there is one more bad news. Another sad thing is that a majority of questions in CSAT reading comprehension come from IBQ only. They are IBQ type only. For example, out of the total questions of CSAT RC, 60 to 70% questions every year belong to the IBQ category. These I also call as the monster questions. Nobody likes them and they are a big torture on human mind, okay? So these are called monster questions. But sadly, 60 to 70% will be these only. Now, if this is the most difficult category, then what is the most easy category? IBQ is inference-based question. Now, exactly what is this? You have to wait and give me 1 or 2 more minutes because we will talk about it now. One by one. Okay. So inference-based questions, if make monster your friend, well, that's what we will do. We will kill the monster with our 5-step strategy. Okay. So if inference-based question is a monster and 60 to 70% questions are coming from here, then which is the easiest variety of question? Which is the simplest and the most easy and the most scoring kind of question? That's the PBQ, the passage-based question. These are so simple that I sometimes call them angel questions. They are very sweet. They are so easy that even a child can solve them. But the sad thing is, in the RC exam, in the CSAT exam, only 10 to 20% questions are based on PBQ or passage-based, okay? So while this is the easiest, only 10 to 20% questions will be coming from here. And while this IBQ is the most difficult one, but 60 to 70% questions shall come from here. Now, in between these two categories, the most easy and the most tough, comes another category of question, which is known as the central idea or the central theme-based questions. These are therefore called TBQ, and these will be around sometimes 20 to 30% of the total paper, sometimes even 40% of the total paper can come from theme-based question. Okay? It could come from theme-based question. All right. So these are the three categories of questions of CSAT RC. So now let's begin one by one and try to see how do they look, how to solve them, how to identify these questions so that immediately we can start practicing the previous year CSAT passages. But without methodology, without the formula, you can't. To learn the formula, first see how do these three types of questions actually look. Okay, let's begin with the very first category of questions here, which is the passage-based question or the PBQ. My dear friend, the monster-based question or the most difficult questions is the inference-based, IBQ. A majority of CSAT passage questions will be based on inference only. They will be IBQs, okay? How does it look? I will show you shortly. The easiest one is the angel one because it's so sweet and easy, and that's called passage-based question. I hope that clarifies your doubt. Okay. Now, then what are the passage-based questions and they look like? Now, passage-based questions are also sometimes known as fact-based questions or direct questions, also known as specific questions. Why? Because the answer to this question is direct in the message. You don't use your brain, it's a no-brainer. For passage-based question, you don't have to use brain, you have to use eyes. It is a test of your eyesight more than your thinking capacity. Because these are very easy. These are very easy. The answer to this question will be directly given easily in the passage in front of you. You only have to locate it and answer the question, because the answer is found directly in the exact words of the passage. It's very, very simple. How do the passage-based question look? How will you identify a passage-based question? Well, sometimes a question can ask you, according to the passage, which of these options are true, A, B, C, D? Whichever option will match from the passage will be the right answer, passage-based question. Similarly, the question can ask you, the passage says that, and 4 options shall be given to you, A, B, C, D. Whichever options matches with the passage word by word is the right answer again. Third question. Which of the following statements is true or false? Now, whichever statement again matches with the passage, same language, same line will be the answer. Sometimes the question can ask you, which of the following statements has not been given in the passage? In that also, all of the statements will be from the passage. The one which is passage will be the right answer. So which means the answers are very simple, direct. Seeing a sample question, you will not understand my point. So therefore, I'm showing you a very small sample passage here. Kindly solve that passage for me. I will also read the passage with you. Please provide me with the answer. If you can do this, which means you can do any passage-based question in CSAT. A very small passage in front of you, followed by a question. So kindly, my dear friends, read the passage and please answer the question. Let's see whether you can. If you can, then you know how to solve passage-based question, because this is a PBQ. So please read the passage. I have launched a poll. Take your time and keep solving. In the meantime, I will read the passage with you as well. Now, the passage says, a library is a collection of sources of information and similar resources made accessible to a defined community for reference or borrowing. Now, another rule is whenever you read a passage, read the first line and stop. Stop yourself. Please try to see what is the passage talking about. Give yourself at least 2 seconds to analyze what is the passage talking about. Now, I know after reading the first line, the passage is very simple. It is telling me what is the definition of a library. It is simply about a place from where I can get information and other kind of resources for information, knowledge, which is made available to a specific community. Which community? Community of those who read, who are avid readers, who like reading and who like researching into information. So these people are provided information for either referring to it or for borrowing. Now, a library also provides a physical or digital access to material or both, which means a library can provide a physical access to material. It can be a room, a building, or sometimes even online library is available. So it can be in any format. Now, sometimes a library is just a virtual space, something that you can only access through your online connection. But nowadays, even online libraries or e-libraries are becoming very famous. And then the passage tells you what all does a library provide. So a library is providing us what? So many things like books, like periodicals, newspapers, manuscript. Now, what is a manuscript? What is a manuscript? A manuscript is a book which has not been published, not on print. It is a handwritten original copy by the author. Yes, original, very good. Handwritten original copy of the author. So that also libraries have. They have films. What kind of films? Not the Hrithik Roshan, Shahid Kapoor kind of films, but knowledge films, or documentary films made by either the government or some NGO or some other research lobby. Then you have maps, historical maps, modern day maps, yes, electronic books, and so many other kind of things. Last part of the passage talks about a size. Libraries can range in size from a few shelves. Just a few shelves can also be a library. And sometimes several million items collected together, which means a huge area where you have millions of items stacked up. That's also a library. So the size is very variable. All right, that's the passage. Now let me have a look at the question. The question is, what is the size of a library? Now, this is a passage-based question. Why? It's a very direct question. The question has not asked you what is the passage talking about. The question has not asked you what is the main theme of the passage. The question has not asked you what is the meaning of the word manuscript or reference. The question has asked you one specific detail, and it is, what is the size of a library? So now in this case, please listen to me carefully. If in this passage the noun is library, the main idea is library, then what is the supporting idea? Supporting ideas are adjectives about library. What is the size of library? It is a supporting idea. What does a library provide? It's material. That is a supporting idea. What is the meaning of a library is a supporting idea. Okay, and who uses a library is also a supporting idea. So all these supporting ideas, but one main idea, the noun library. Clear? That's what we have to do. Now let's have a look at the simple passage-based question A. The size of a library is a medium-sized hall or a large room. Did the passage say this? No, it did not say that. B. A fixed number of shelves arranged alphabetically. Did the passage tell us that the books have to be arranged alphabetically? No. So it cannot be the right answer either. C. Few rooms inside the premises of a school or a college. Did the passage mention college or school? No, it did not. So it cannot be true either. D. It ranges from few shelves of books to several million items. Now, this is something I have read word by word in the passage. Look at the last line. Libraries range in size from few shelves of books to several million items, word by word taken from the passage. This is an example of a passage-based question where one specific detail will be asked from the passage in direct language and the answer option can be located word by word from the passage. Easiest type of question, and the poll result says 92% students went for D, which is the right answer here. Now, for those who did not, what confusion have in this? If there's anything, please ask me. I'm here to explain. Did you understand the question and how to solve it? You think it's difficult at all? Any difficulty could be there in passage-based question. There is no difficulty. No. You don't have to think at all. You see, whichever matching with the language of the passage, whichever option is clearly mentioned in the passage, my friend, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. You don't have to think at all, yeah? No. Never make that mistake here. Never do that. Why? Because you are saying reading the options first and then going to the passage is called reverse methodology. Reverse methodology is used in UPSC compulsory language paper, Hindi and English, or any other regional language paper. There also you get an RC. In that you use reverse method. In CSAT, it is banned. In CSAT, it is permitted to use this method. Absolutely no. Here you cannot read the options first. No. You have to read the passage and then see the option. No. Very good question, Samarth. Brilliant question. You cannot deviate from the passage at all. In comprehension, you will not use any outside language. For example, option number B, alphabetically. Passage did not talk about alphabetically. For example, option number C, college or school. The passage did not talk about college or school. Whatever is not written in the passage cannot be used. It cannot be. It's prohibited. So these are some things you must remember. No worries, no worries. It is only a practice session. Make mistakes. We learn only from mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more I come to know where I have to work harder, where I have to explain you better. So don't worry about answering wrong. For me, the biggest thing is that my students should answer, participate and keep answering. No place for fear, no place for any kind of hesitation. Make mistakes. This is your class. It is created to make your work easy, to make you understand CSAT RC. We don't have to be perfect. Make mistakes. Take your time. It is an angel question. You will recognize passage-based question, Bala, by seeing the question itself. Passage-based question always asks you something related to supporting idea of the passage, never on the main idea of the passage. Okay, very good. All right, my dear friends, I can read everyone's message. Everyone's, okay? It's not like that. Yes, it is a passage-based question. Now, can I safely believe that everyone can do passage-based questions? Is it easy? One last line before I proceed with the next point of question. Passage-based questions are direct questions. The option will be taken directly from the passage, so there is no scope of confusion. Okay. Second thing is you always have to read the passage first. Then you have to read the question and only then you will read the options. Fourth thing, whatever is given in the passage, you can only use that information. Don't use common sense. Don't use logic. Don't use imagination. Not at all. It's a cakewalk. Yes, it is a cakewalk. With this, I proceed with the next type of questions, which is known as central idea or the theme-based questions. Now, these are neither very difficult nor very easy, somewhere in between. Why? And what is this? Now, I told you in the beginning of the lecture itself that in every passage you will have one main, which generally is some or the other noun, okay, any kind of noun. Like in the previous passage, we had libraries. That was the noun. So here also you will have a noun, okay, the main idea. And then you will have several small supporting ideas. You also know that. Now, in CSAT RC, the main job is to understand this main idea or the main crux of the passage. What is the main point the passage is talking about? What? For example, if you go to see some kind of a Bollywood movie, okay, nowadays so many movies are coming, Kantara is coming and so many. You go to see that movie and then you come back after watching the movie and somebody asks you, okay, what was there in the movie? How is the movie? What will you do? Will you sit with that person for 3.5 hours and explain the whole story and sing the song also and dance like the hero heroine? Will you do that? Nobody can do that. So what will you do? What will you do? You will only tell that person what is the main plot, or what is the main idea really behind the movie or the film that you just saw. Because you have no choice. You cannot go on explaining them every single detail about what you have seen. And that exactly is known as repeating just the main idea. So imagine from a 3-hour movie or from a 2.5-hour cinema, you took back with you, just for example,